How you doing, folks? It's time I got stuck into this Beetle behind me here. So first things first, I picked up an engine, so let's see if we can get this running. This is a 1200 engine that I picked up for a song, and it was certainly the right price. And I've got to put in a test stand that I created pretty much off camera, but I did do a little short on it. So what I have it hooked up with now is a 12 volt battery, and if you see now, first things first, that's our oil pressure light. We're going to crank it over, see how it sounds. And I've checked it for oil, so we're gonna give it a blip and see if the oil pressure light goes out. That's the first thing we want to check. Wow, it built oil pressure very quickly. Okay, great. So it seems like it's spinning over all right without making any particular racket or whatever. I've also checked it for Endfloat. Just pulled the pulley back and forth. Basically, you can feel how much wear is in a Volkswagen engine based on that alone, to a certain degree. And there's very little in this. So next thing to do is I want to set the timing statically and make sure that we're within the ballpark. These Volkswagen engines will run despite you, to be honest with you. You know, I mean, they really have to be in very bad order for them to not run. So once we have a spark, we can throw a drop of fuel down once the timing is correct. And I would expect it to fire off unless the compression is completely gone, but it doesn't sound like it is. So let's get that timing done first. Right, so the first thing I want to do is I want to rotate the engine so that it's on number one cylinder, top dead center on the compression stroke. So the reason I left the engine stand in such a configuration that you can blip the starter over without having the coil turned on, so you can just kind of crank it over just like this. Okay, so let's see how we're going now. Okay, that's the inlet valve closed. So now, I'll rotate the engine. To be honest with you, it does feel a little light on the compression side of things. But look, let's see how we go. So now, we're going to rotate this until we line up our timing mark with the split in the crankcase. So there we go. Now, right, there's the timing mark lined up. Okay, so what we want to do is turn on our coil, get our HD lead connected up there as well. It's not looking great, that one, but it's alright to do. Okay, so we want to turn the distributor so that we just hear the, well, you can take off the distributor cap and actually see the points open. And once the points open, then you know you're in the ballpark. So number one cylinder is, let's see what way we're lined up. To me, the distributor is completely arse about face because the number one spark plug lead is over here. Now I would have thought it should be 90 degrees around from there. Yeah, so the rotor arm is actually pointing in the right direction, but the distributor cap is completely wrong. So we need to set up the firing order on that. That is, of course, I'd be just a case of doing that. Alright, so the whole situation with the distributor was all screwed up, okay? So what I did was I actually took off all the leads from the distributor cap, turned the distributor 90 degrees, just until the points opened and they clicked and we saw a spark in between them, so we know there is a spark there, that the coil is alright. And then I put the leads back in the correct orientation, so 1, 4, 3, 2, and Volkswagen are very helpful that they put the firing order down there. Do you hear me, Trevor Brady? So now... it's a little in-joke from Irish VW circles, folks. Anyway, right, so let's see if she will fire off, because I have filled up the float bowl there with a 2-stroke mix, which I have in a bottle here, and we may need to, it doesn't seem like it has an accelerator pump, so let's turn it on and see what happens. Oh. She wants to live, folks. Give it a bit more petrol.
It ain't got no gas in it.
Give it a little more gas. I love doing this sort of stuff. Now come on, baby. Come on. No, we need to fill up the float bowl a bit better than that. This thing, my little squirty bottle, it's too, the hole in the top of it is too small, so I'm going to actually cut that off, make it a bit bigger. Okay, right now, let's see if we have an accelerator pump now. No. Nothing of the sort. Okay, right, not to worry. Let's turn it on and see if it'll spin over or crank over now. Right. Timing might not be 100% on it. So, let me have a think. Great oil pressure though, I have to say. It takes a while for the light to come back on after spinning it over. So that's a positive in itself. I just got to give the rotor arm a little bit of a clean up on the wire wheel, and let's have a look and see how we're looking in there. They're passable. Okay, and I'll get a little file for the points as well. Alright, so I want to find out now if there is a decent spark inside with the points there. So let's just turn that on and give this a blip. Oh yeah, there's plenty of spark there. Now I'd say actually the condenser is banjaxed, but I have a new points and condenser to go into it. This is just an exploratory mission, folks, and then at a later stage what we'll be doing is trying to actually get it running well. So let's see now. We'll give it another dart. Actually, we've got a kind of easy start now in a second as well. Yeah. Oh Lord. Right, okay. Now let's have another think about this. For all the piss taking I did about the firing order, I got it wrong. I had it going anti-clockwise. The MGB's distributor rotates anti-clockwise. This one rotates clockwise as you're looking down on it. So that's my excuse, I'm sticking with it. Anyway, right now let's see. Right, now we need to get that rocker cover on because we know it's going to do something. I have a funny feeling I'm going to need to open a few windows for this, but for the moment, the rocker cover's on. Let's see what happens. Deadly. Right, okay. Now there's going to be a massive vacuum leak there because we haven't put the vacuum pipe on for the distributor. So let's get that on and open a few windows. Jesus wept. Right, okay, that can go there, that can go there. I don't even think I tightened the nut on the back of the carburetor because we were just going to try and lash a bit of petrol down it and see how we go. So now we know it's a potential runner. Let's tighten them up. That one's tight anyway. I don't need it. Yeah, the back one's not tight at all. Volkswagen were having a laugh when they came up with this system. Could they not have put the nuts on either side instead of front and back? Once I have this all done, I'm going to come up with a shopping list of what exactly I need. I'm thinking a carb rebuild kit anyway will be on the list. And just general service items. I'm going to need to get an exhaust and a clutch as well. And I have most of the other bits. So service items, I mean, will include the likes of, I'll stick a new points and condenser in it, obviously. We'll change the oil, any gaskets that we can kind of easily do. Make sure the engine's serviceable. That alternator belt is going to obviously need to be changed. The carb base gasket, we'll do that as well for the time being anyways. I just wanted to idle for a minute. Once I've seen it idling, then we know we've a good one. I think already we know that, but so let's see. Now we'll fill up the float bowl again. Alright. There you go, just fill it until you see the petrol coming out the vents. Choke is on. See, no accelerator pump. This is why I love Beetle engines, they're just so class. Fucking hell. Jesus, right. Okay, that's enough fluting around. I know it runs now, which is great. So next step is to get all the service components together, get a bit of a shopping list. So I'm going to look over it here now, and we're going to just see what we need, and I'm going to just tot everything up and see what we can get away with, what we're absolutely going to need. So the benefit of it being in the engine stand is you can rotate the engine around and all that as well. But that being said, I'd have to drain the oil out of it, and I want to run it a little bit longer before doing that. So what I might do at some point or another is just hook up a fuel can and take that carburetor off it and just see if we can blow it out and kind of get it working right. The jets are probably wrong for it as well. I mean, that could have been off a 13 or 1600 engine for all I know. I don't think it's the original carb 40 engine is what I'm saying. So that's going to straight away impede things. Fuel pump we don't know about. We're going to have to find out about that one as well. Has it got a thermostat on it? Of course it doesn't. They never bloody well do. People, will you stop taking the thermostats off your Volkswagen engines? Anyway, look, it's fine. We can run without a thermostat in this instance. I'd rather not, but that's where we're at with this. A good deep grease and everything like that. Distributor cap is okay, rotor is okay. I'm not going to sink a whole load of money into this. Basically, I want to get it to a point where it's kind of good enough to stick into the car. I'll give it a little Delta Verato can, just spruce it up a bit and make it look a bit smarter and everything as well. Do what needs to be done. Exhaust is obviously an essential. I have a pair of heat exchangers to stick onto it. Gasket, exhaust fitting kit is going to be needed. I'll take off the intake manifold and just make sure the heat riser tube is cleaned out, because that is a constant source of annoyance with VW engines, trying to get the things running right with the heat riser tubes blocked, because all that happens is the manifold ices up. Other than that, gaskets. The only expensive things really are the clutch and the exhaust. If you have a second-hand exhaust kicking around, folks, please do drop me a message down below, and I would be eternally grateful. I obviously will throw you a few quid for it, but I don't want to spend the earth on this. You know, I want to just get it into the car. So yeah, that's a win. I'm gonna be honest with you. Let's see if we can do it again. Not that I think in this context it's going to make a massive difference, but there was another vacuum leak at the front on this port here, so I've plugged that one up as well. So now let's see how we go. Probably tick over like Swiss wristwatch now. the excitement, I forgot to do a bloody compression test, which is one of the things I really wanted to do. So let's see how that goes. 80. Well, let's see if I hold the choke open if it makes much of a difference. 85, a bit low, but what we're looking for here is consistency as well. So 85. See, this is the thing. A lot of this will probably come good over a bit of time. I don't know when the last time was this engine was actually run. So it could have been years ago. It probably was years ago. $75. Again, not great, but let's have a look at the other side. Okay, 85 on this one. This is before I've even adjusted valves or anything like that, and they're probably all covered in crap and everything, you know, just the spark plugs themselves are quite oily actually. I'll show you them now in a second. Alright, now let's have a go. Nothing. And that's a worry. Okay, so 0 compression on number 1 cylinder. So having a stuck valve. That's something we need to investigate. Okay, I can confirm that yes, you have not a stuck valve, but so much as I can tell, a stuck lifter, because that valve has been held in. That is the exhaust valve, and if I blip over the bottom, that's not moving. Alright, so we need to figure out what's going on with that. Bear in mind, with Volkswagen engines, they share cam lobes with the other cylinder on the far side as well. So you can't have a situation where the cam lobe is wiped and you're having you're only affecting 1 cylinder. You'd affect 2 cylinders if that was the case. So what I want to do is actually take off the rocker shaft here and have a look and see if the I think the valve is actually moving. Like, you can let me think about this. Right, so I can straight away tell you it is not a stuck valve, it's a stuck lifter, because as soon as I took off the rocker shaft, that valve closed. How exactly you sort that out in the Volkswagen engine, I'm not fully sure yet, but we're gonna figure that out now in a second. Let's just flip it over. Yeah, there's nothing, that is not moving in there. It's like if I hold this, so you can feel the lobe bumping in and out. So it's stuck out at the moment, right? So how can we? I'm wondering if I get a brass rod or something like that and just tap that, just to try and free it up. I mean, short of splitting the crankcase, which I am definitely not doing on this engine, I can't imagine anything else that I could really do with it. Alright, I used a length of rod to just tap it home. So now let's see. Yeah, okay, so it moved back out and it's not moving in. So we need to just kind of exercise it a bit. Okay, so that's home again now. So I'm wondering if I spray a bit of stuff in there just to clear it out. Alright, so let's see. Okay, so it's moved out. I'm going to move back in again. I'm just going to repeat this process. It seems to be freeing up a bit there now. Alright, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to turn the engine up on its side a little bit now, and I'm going to actually just pump some oil down there and leave it sit, and just basically let it work its way around the lifter, and then what we'll do is we'll exercise it then, and hopefully it'll come free. A bit of heat into the engine will actually sort that out probably, but I just I can't rely too much on that. But straight away, just even from doing what I'm doing, a little bit of compression is starting to show up, so that's a positive sign. Alright, I'm really not having much success with this particular lifter. It is moving, but it's just very, very tight. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to actually put the rocker shaft back on, and I'm going to actually flush the oil and give it an oil change. Basically, probably flush it with some diesel and stuff like that, and get all that crap out of it. And I'd say it's just oily sludge and everything that's in the bottom end. So they do tend to sludge up. Don't forget, Beetle doesn't actually have an oil filter on it, and as a result of that, they can kind of get gummed up a bit. So I'm not overly concerned. You know, I mean, look, it's an engine that's been sitting up for a while. These are the type of things you can expect to see in that instance. So let's get that back on anyway. The rocker shaft. Very important when you're getting the rocker shaft on to line up the push rods. So now that's that. We go diving. In my infinite wisdom, I did off camera. I turned the engine over on its side a little bit and forgot that the oil and everything was going to come pouring out of the push rod tubes, and it made a right bloody mess underneath here. So it wasn't my finest hour. Anyway, it is what it is. It's fine now. Bit of sawdust down on the ground will have it right. So let's get them back on. Tighten them up. We'll just see if the valve spring is even enough to do it now after me kind of freeing it up a little bit there. It might be. I doubt it, but you can always live in hope. Okay, right, now let's just flip the engine over. Hey, that's progress. It's moving, it's slow, but it's moving. Jesus. Right, now let's see what sort of compression we're getting. 45. It's not great, but given the fact that the valve isn't closing fully, I would imagine. Let's look at it. Let's see. Yeah, see, like, this is tight as hell there. So, I could go like that. There's still no the tiniest bit of clearance there, but that's going to affect the compression in itself. So look. Alright, okay, I'm going to actually call that a win, to be honest with you, because it is opening and closing now, which is something it was not doing before. So we're certainly much further along the track there now, and what I can do is kind of flush the oil, get some fresh oil into it, run it for a couple of 100 miles, flush it out again, and then by the time you get fresh oil in it, that valve will be 100%. Get all the valves adjusted and everything like that. We're good to go. So yeah, that's a positive. So I'm just going to crank it over again. Just put the spark plug back into it just quickly. I'm going to clean them up, and we're going to actually see how it sounds now. Now, I strongly recommend when you're putting spark plugs into a Beetle engine that you start them off by hand, because they're alloy heads with very short threads, and they are very, very prone to stripping. Okay. Now it barely nips them, okay, so put that on there. Okay, so spark plugs are back in, rocker cover is back on. So let's give it a little bit of petrol down the yap. Okay, get a bit of that there into you, and power on, and well, that's not going to help the situation, is it? I will actually put some crocodile clips onto this at some stage, but not right now. Or ring terminals, I mean, not the crocodile clips, that's what we have. Ah, Jesus, will you stop doing that? Now, stay on, for God's sake. much better. Right, that's brilliant. Okay, let's leave it at that. Yeah, no, I can't leave it at that. I've still got some petrol left, haven't I? Okay, Grant. Right, power off, disconnected. Job's a good one. I just hope the piston didn't hit the valve, actually. I suppose we'd have no compression if that were the case, wouldn't we? Alright, okay. Let's call it at that. That's great. So it's ticking over now anyway to a certain degree. Obviously a lot more work involved to get it to be a serviceable engine. I mean, Jesus, like it's a long way away from that. But yeah, happy days. I'm delighted there. That's cool. It's amazing how much fun you can get out of a little 1200cc engine like this. So yeah, that's a big win for this Beetle behind me here. So this engine will obviously be going into that, and yeah, there's a few other jobs that need to be done in that car as well. Mainly the brakes. I mean, everything else is there. It's actually a pretty complete car. Oh Jesus, there goes my garage door. The other thing I'm delighted with actually is the engine stand I built. If any of you want to actually see a bit more information about how I made that, please do comment below, and I'll do a bit more of a run through on it. Obviously I didn't have time to build it to scale or to paint it, but it does the trick. You know, I mean, I was able to run the engine in the stand, and I took the time to actually wire in the oil pressure switch as well. So there's two wires basically coming off one comes off the switch, which goes over to the coil, to the solenoid, and over to the choke mechanism. I mean, you may as well. And then the other wire comes from the negative side of the light bulb and just grounds into the oil pressure switch. So if you have no oil pressure, that grounds. So when you turn it on at first, you get your basically your oil pressure light, and you start the engine. That should disappear straight away. And if it comes on, it means that switch is after making ground and sending power through the light bulb. I might even go so far in the future as connecting up some circuitry for the alternator, so at least we can actually test the alternator when it's in the car as well, because it'd be another nice little add-on for it. I might not. I'm not sure yet. But yeah, let me know if you want to see anything else about that. And in the meantime, I'm going to get onto vwspares.ie and start ordering a few parts and get what I need for it. I'm going to have a think about what else we're going to need for the car as well, maybe do a bit of rummaging on that, and I'll bring it back then when I have all the bits and we can actually start working through this and servicing it, getting it right, and then we can, once it's right and we know we can run it well in the stand, then we can bolt it into the car, because that means it's literally just a case of dropping it in, turning the key, and she runs. So that's what we're kind of working towards. That's why having it in this build stand is just so much handier. So I hope you'll join me for that, folks. Please do hit the subscribe button before you go. I really do appreciate it, and I really enjoy having you guys along for the journey. And it's the one thing that keeps me going, folks. You know, I mean, I'll keep churning out the videos so long as you keep on watching them. So please do stay tuned, and I will chat to you soon. Thanks for watching.